Hey everybody, Count MRVHS here. Welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Total War Dorwinion campaign. And before we get into it, I know this is very unprofessional, but I wanted to show you a little bit about, from my side, how I'm trying to address some of the audio issues that some of you have been reporting. So I'm really curious, but we're going to get into a battle here in a second. If anyone could let me know how the sound is. I've been getting reports that it's very quiet, and that's certainly not my intention. So what I've done is down here in the audio mixer section, and again, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'd really appreciate the pointers if you have any, I've cranked this all the way up. I go to settings, to advanced audio properties, and what I've just done is increased the audio input capture volume. This was at 0. I put it up to 1. I don't know if that's going to help, but that's kind of the goal there. So let me know how it sounds, and yeah, let's get into the battle then. And if you have any tips about how to approach that stuff, I'd appreciate it. We're being attacked though by a couple of axemen here from the northeast and a slinger unit, and from the northwest a bunch of other stuff, mostly axemen, warband, slingers, some light cav stuff that we have seen before, but we need to get through it all. And this, if nothing else, illustrates the extent to which the AI is steered by certain predictable, attractive patterns. That is, it would be much better for them to go for Rathwin right now, which is an unprotected settlement off to the west. There's like 2 units in there, I think, and they could pretty much just get in there and assault if they were quick about it before I could respond. But they have not done that. And I think it's because the AI, it really has a hard time resisting attacking you on these crossings. When you park an army on a bridge or a ford, like in this case, they just can't resist that stuff for whatever reason. So, you know, that's something you can kind of use, like I am, to, you know, bait them a little bit towards you, or at least, I wouldn't say that I'm using it, but I'm just aware of it, right? Like, so I know that if I put an army here, I'm just feeling kind of good about my odds that they're not going to go for my relatively unprotected settlement, and they will instead attack this. So let's put all these guys on hold position. We've got our slingers. They're on skirmish, so they'll skirmish away. Imagine we'll just... Yep, get them routing pretty fast. They're shaken. But we are cutting them down too. And here come the slingers. And there come the reinforcements. So yeah, I think we can get away with speeding it up. There they go routing. And I'm just gonna, well, let that happen. I will bring you up here though. And that's just a couple of guys. And here we've got just another captain. So this should be, again, a very simple one. It's a little tricky with slingers in these defensive positions because you don't want them to get caught in the melee, but you don't want them behind your other units. I think they've got 2 units of slingers of their own. But yeah, I mean, I could even put these guys in the river. I don't think we'll need to. Alright, there's a warband off to the left. And everything else is pretty much just going to come straight at us. I don't know, in the last episode we had our Rovanian spearmen in a hedgehog formation. And I honestly don't know if that did much good. And look at this, they're just going right through our Dorwinion watch. Okay, let's take them off defense mode. And you guys too, and we'll just give attack orders now. And almost everybody's routing. There they go. Just a mountain cavalry unit. And the slingers are going off into the distance. I'm going to let them go. We might be able to catch them, but the thing about chasing archer-type units with light cav is that if you catch them, you're going to lose a few of your light cav. So I'll just end the battle here. I mean, slingers are probably one of the better targets to go after in that respect because they're more fragile, I think, in melee than a lot of archer units. Could be wrong there, though. Okay, so yeah, we got quite a few stacks in the area to deal with. All right, I saw. Okay, there it is. It's very hard to see against the grass, but here is a full stack led by a nobleman. He is not the heir or the faction leader. And then we've got another stack led by just some guy. He's got some Spearmen of Rune. This is a tier 3 unit. And I can't see anything here. But I think we've got some spies coming. Yeah, this guy. So let's get him up and we can get a better look. Kind of. Okay, so they've only got one elite. But that's not to say that this is an easy army to deal with. Right, especially if they got several units of cav. If they had a family member here, that would be pretty formidable. This one might be a big problem. We just can't get a good look at it. And in Garth, we can see they've got tier 2. So mustering fields, this is what they're getting out of that. Warband, skirmishers, axemen, slingers, and mountain raiders, which is their light cav unit. So not too bad. Here, I'm guessing it's probably very similar. But this is going to be a maxed out settlement, so I'm guessing that's where like the spearmen and the other guys are coming from. So let's talk. My goal with North Rune is not to eliminate them. I would like them as a protectorate, and as part of that, I don't want to open up a new border with Rune to the east. So that means I don't really want to get Yar Helkar, right? In fact, I'm happy that they have it. So we'll just leave this for late. I want to get this. I want to get this. And I could grab this. No, I can't. I can't grab this one because Rune owns this. So unless I wanted to, you know, capture this, gift it to North Rune, and then do this, which I may do eventually, but I'd like to get them as a protectorate first. However, we are going to be a while before that happens. So this is not going to be so much of a protectorate run. You know, unless I don't know, unless I start to make a ton of money and get big armies. But the big armies are the problem now because, as we've seen, there are a lot of enemy stacks. So we've got to get rid of all of those. I think we're a bit light on archers here, actually. But in 6 turns, we'll be able to retrain the Dorwinion Watch and the Dorwinion Bowmen. So, you know, these are units that it's very tempting to just merge them together. We'll never be able to get halberdiers out of here, so I may as well just merge them. Men-at-Arms, I think, too, we won't get. Yeah. So, you know, I could theoretically bring them down south and retrain them, but I'm not too concerned. The halberdiers are going to be nice to have a few, but not super essential. Okay, so yeah, let's go with a couple of archers. And then we will get Hjorth. Let's see, what else do we want to do? All right, our ruler is here. We should probably... It's been a while since we've been focused on building because we've just had so much fighting. So we've got our basic units here. And Yodor was... we were going for military. However, I don't know that it's worth building it up just yet. You know, eventually we can get more retainer longbowmen, so it'll be kind of nice to have that extra utility. And in Burn, well, we won't be able to get the Lord's Barracks. We'll only ever have these guys, but that's fine because we're going financial here. We'll be able to get spies and things. But we probably still do want to get control posts so we can train something. All right, how much money do we have coming in? All right, 7,000, so this is pretty good. I'm going to go for a road then because, although, Lord's Feast, that's going to be a better move. A couple hundred or so. Some more growth, yeah, I think we'll do that. Rathwin, see, what did I do here? Did I go military? Good. Because this is going to be an additional place to get really elite units. We eventually will get this. I've been holding off. I could probably go for fish. I got to start doing some building with this because, you know, now that we've got the basics taken care of in the settlements that we've conquered, we can and should afford some focus on these things. All right, let's retrain the foresters. Ah, jeez. What would be great against North Rune? We don't need like a ton of archers or skirmish types. In fact, we've got, you know, too many here. But I don't want to go bankrupt training elites. You know, maybe I should go for one of these though, Dorwinion men-at-arms, just so we can have sort of a good all-around melee fighter who's not more exclusively focused on cav. And because these slingers are a bit annoying, I'm going to bring one back. And yeah, I'm going to bring the bowman. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can bring 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess that'll be all right.
Captain.
Actually, I think I do want something. All right, let's go for archers. I know if I had anything else, I would use it. I guess we could train something out of here. It might not be a bad idea to get a couple of cav going. So we'll just do that. We're probably going to get hit again, you know, and this is how we deal with those endless North Rune stacks. We just make ourselves a nice inviting target on the ford, and they bash their heads against it for a while. Yep, now this is a lieutenant, so this is the army we were looking at with the Spearmen of Rune. So very nice, and we'll see if the family member is going to come down as well. Alright, we've got a slightly different composition here. Not too much. Still got 3 slingers. So all of you guys up here. Yeah, I guess I like this kind of line. Right there, and... Okay, right, foresters. Let's have them here and here. All you guys on guard mode. And cav up here and here. No family member, so again, the morale for these captain-led armies is a bit shakier. So the spearmen are actually coming across first, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and go after their warband with our axes right away. Start to get some flanking. There's the spears. Yep, and we're getting some routing. Oh, those are skirmishers. Good. The warband is routing. Not routing over here. So they're pausing to do some war cry, it sounds like. And notice how now we're able... Okay, we're following them with our forces. I don't necessarily want that. But maybe I should halt, actually, because we're going to get some nice skirmish options from here. We'll hit them in the side as they're going through the shallows. Losing heavily. Okay, I think now we go out of guard mode, and now we're going to start killing. So with guard mode, you just sort of hold your position, and your guys don't do a lot of damage. But meanwhile, it does, you know, tire out the enemy while they're fighting, and you, in guard mode, do preserve your stamina a bit better. So you can leave them in guard mode for like a minute, and then take them out of it, and then your fresh troops start kind of pushing forward. It's a cool little, you know, is it a mechanic, or it's just the way the physics works in the game, I guess. But I really like it. Okay, so we're getting a little confused here because some of our guys can go in the shallows and some can't. The foresters are getting destroyed over here. But that's fine, that's kind of what they're for. Now that we're pushing into their axemen, we are running into a bit of a problem because they're going to be holding off this entire force. So what I always wish is that there was a way to pull back without taking a ton of losses. Let's see how this goes. We got 40 men now. Start pulling out, we're going to get a ton of free kills, and they're not even going to want to leave. That's actually maybe slightly better than I would have thought. Hit them from the flanks. They've kept their captain back, so we haven't been able to take him out yet. Send the axemen over. These are axemen. If I charge in here, I think we've broken the spears at this point. Yeah, they're gone. So, like, this could be relatively safe. Let's do it. They're winning easily. I'm gonna pull my general back with the horn call so he doesn't get killed quite so fast. Okay, the mountain raiders have now exposed themselves over here. Let's get the axemen back up over. Oh, the spearmen are right here. So let's actually get them into Shiltrom and just kind of march them into the enemy cav. Jeez. General is in the thick of it. Okay, good. That was not me. Okay, they're routing. Good. I like this. Great. Alright, that was maybe a bit unnecessary on my part to get the general involved. But I felt bad. You know, he's had several battles where he's done nothing. So again, we'll just end that. So I think it's good to get them involved every now and then. Of course, there's always the chance that they're going to get the wounded trait. Victory! All right. Okay, good. So they didn't hit us yet again. But probably next turn that's coming. Okay, attuned governor, where are you? City of Dale. Okay, great. So he's attuned again. Starts getting his all of his benefits. We're training some more archers there. All right. So yeah, bring you over. All right, they are going for Wrathwind. So it's frustrating. The other thing I have to be aware of here is that all of these units get benefits to fighting in the snow. So I will want to fight in the summer, and it's really only going to be relevant when I'm fighting, you know, north of Belligand, or around here, I guess, because the snow comes down around Wrathwind. So if I try to fight them here now, they're going to get some combat advantages. Okay, so with that in mind, maybe I should get some more axemen instead of more cav, and then we might stand a chance of holding out there. Here, let's get cav here. Captain. And the thing is, I'm afraid to leave this spot now because this army could probably hit Belligand if I wasn't standing right there. So what we'll need to do is reinforce from Burn, I'm thinking. This is the ruler. He's, you know, he's fine as a governor, but it might be more important to have him over here. So I'm going to take him out. We're going to take the expensive troops with him. And I want to leave enough here just to really make sure that Dorwinion doesn't dare to hit us. This province doesn't border the Bjornings, so that shouldn't you know, affect anything if we leave this a bit weak. Okay, and we can also, while we're in the area, we could aim to retrain these other units. Oh, let's see. We've got so many weak units. So what we'll do then is bring some of them down primarily to retrain. All right, I think we'll just do that. And this, really, having the ruler should be enough to see off this army. get down here and retrain all these cav and axemen, and then eventually get the other guys. So maybe I want more of these tough units actually. All right, I think that'll be it. Dwarven spy. Let's see how bad that is. Oh, looks like he got killed trying to get in. We should get some news about that. All right, so they're standing on the crossing. All right. Looks like we're going to have a couple of ford battles here. One defensive and one offensive. So this army's fine, actually. There's nothing scary about that. And maybe the family member is going to be even a little more vulnerable than that light cav unit, because they tend to have a smaller bodyguard. And, you know, the other thing is sometimes generals can get traits that make them, like, more of a liability than a captain would be. All right, skirmisher right there, right there. And yeah, all of you guys just right there. Alright, we do have men-at-arms, and now I'm thinking I want them to be on a shield wall. We'll put them right there. And on guard mode, and then so they're going to have a nice little roll here holding our left. Alright, there are a lot of skirmishers, which are going to make things kind of annoying to manage. But it does feel like there's more warband in this army than there was in the last one. Alright, I'll take you guys off guard. Alright, they're just throwing themselves at my line, which is very fun to see. And they're holding a bit better now because, again, they've got that family member. And he's got 29 men. Alright, it's like they're avoiding my my line. I'm going to keep him here, though, because there are quite a lot of axemen still coming. So it'll be good to have those relatively fresh swordsmen. Alright, let's take you out of guard mode. We'll start pushing forward. Alright, I do want to wrap my axemen around. We're just taking a lot of casualties from the skirmishers, but let's get into the melee. Let's march my line forward to here. Get the axemen up there. Waiting for a good opportunity to maybe hit their general with my light cav. These guys, it looks like they're not firing currently. Alright, let's just keep pushing the line forward. The shield wall. Oh, and they're leaving him alone there. 20 men. Okay, so we're starting to get into melee with these axemen. We are fresh. We are winded. Okay, great. So routing on the right. Okay, let's I guess we'll keep them in guard mode for a little while longer. All right, 19 men. Okay, so here's where we're going to do it. Once you guys form up, we're going to charge right in here if we can. We are charging, but it's not a good charge. Let's see, though. 18, they're utterly tired. 17, yeah, that was not a good charge. I'm just going to leave him in melee for a bit. 34 men, we're just completely surrounded. Alright, it's time to throw in the cav to support this. Alright, we got him. Take you off guard mode. Let's try to do some killing. Alright, routed the slingers. The axemen are going to be a problem. I think it's time to go into the general here. Good. Get a nice mass rout. We're taking a lot of casualties in these battles, which is a little surprising, you know, but I guess it's understandable because we're using relatively low-tier units for a lot of our fighting. Alright, let's go chase some of them down. But still, I mean, our Dorwinion Watch, we lost, I think we had in the 40s for both of these units, and this guy too. Let's just end the battle here. But I think their losses are probably a function of just dealing with tons of units. You know, we're just very outnumbered. So if we had like a lot more of them, that's always going to be the problem with Dorwinion. Because, you know, economically, there's such an incentive to train these light, cheap units, and think of your heavy stuff as sort of the, you know, the island, or like the rock or the anchor or whatever. But, you know, you're still doing a lot of retraining. So let's do that. Let's take some of these units back into Belligant. Oh my gosh, though. Let's see what would happen if we were to go down here. How far could these guys go? Well, this army could besiege me. Alright, and I don't want to be under siege at all. So we'll bring both of you to be retrained. Let's see. I think we got to do this very carefully. Only like the most weak units get retrained because we don't have that much here. So like I'll take you, and I can take a couple of archers. Yeah, let's take these guys back. And let's do a Ravanian Spearman. It's been a little while. Okay, so what are we up against here? I think what we can do, yeah, is get you right there. And, oh gosh, he's not quite close enough. But if we sally out, he will show up as a reinforcement. Alright, perfect. So we'll just make sure that, that he's going to be controlled by us, and this should be no problem at all. It's one cav unit, 3 axes, and a warband, and I think the balance of power is probably about right because it's a little tougher than I'm making it seem. Remember, this guy doesn't have much that's good, but what I'm going to do is we're going to do this in the next episode. I just primarily want to see you know, how the audio works here, and it could be a disaster. So again, let me know, and if you have any ideas how I could make it more better, what are the good settings that I'm not using? That'd be much appreciated. But otherwise, next time we're going to jump in and save Rathwin, probably save the ford north of Belligant again, keep training stuff, and then bring this army down, and, you know, keep retraining, and then eventually this will quiet down, right? It'll be a few more battles, but there's going to be a point when this does not look so scary, and we'll be able to send a force up to take Garth. I think that's going to be a big turning point. We'll take Garth, take Gargal, and then just besiege these places until they submit. So that's going to be the plan over there. And in the west, in the northwest, we're basically training. So next episode, I think, is when we're going to make our push towards Hjorth. So I hope you join me for that. Take care until then.